guys after that, how would they kind of develop over the course of the camp?
Yeah, I think overall it's been pretty good for us as a group. Garrett Snodgrass has had a really good camp. Ativa has had a really good camp as well. And some of the young guys are really coming along. It's unfortunate Randy had a little shoulder that he's not going to be in the rest of this camp. But overall it's been I really enjoyed the group.
What did you see out of Ativa last year? Because I know it's tough for him with the strangeness of the season, but it seemed like he got involved in special teams and was still active.
Yeah, I mean, with Ativa, the big thing for him is just as many reps as he can get. And he's really a sharp guy. He's got a great background, a great story. But now he's been here for a couple of years now, and he really understands how we want to work, understands how the system works. He's come a long way. He's probably made as big a jump as anybody in this camp.
Garrett got his feet wet a little bit last year, but where's his game maybe grown, or how has he put himself in position maybe to be in that?
He's just a sponge. He absorbs everything. He's a coach's kid, so he gets football, but he's a very impressive as far as coachability and as far as a guy that, when you say something once to him, he gets it. He doesn't make repeat mistakes. So he's a guy who really does. He gets better every single day.
How much, we've probably talked about this before, but how much does even just a few snaps for him last year matter?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I mean, I think whenever you get real snaps in game situations, I think it's just the overall comfort level. You've at least said, I've done that. I've been there, I've done that. So that's a big deal. Even if they're just a few, I think that goes a long way.
Coach Dawson was talking with us about special teams. Where do you fit into that? Barrett, do you have a certain aspect that you're focusing on this year? Is that any different than it's been?
No, I mean, it's everything, honestly. I'm involved with all four phases. Coach Dawson, oversees everything, but each of us as position coaches, it's just like a position coach on defense. You got a position that you coach on special teams in each unit. So really, the drill works where we, I guess, for the most provide the most assistance, organizing the drill, working the technique, and we're a fundamental technique special team. So that's where we hopefully provide the most assistance.
Is the approach that everybody in that room, in your room, plays special teams, or how do you?
Yeah, I mean that's the expectation. That's the standard that you're on something. Hopefully, everybody's playing on one. I think everybody's fighting to be on punt and kickoff, and then if you got that special knack, to be on punt return and then kickoff return, that's the hardest job of football. So we need guys that are willing and able to do that as well.
And at your position especially, is that kind of a natural kind of bridge to more playing time on defense if you can get some special teams reps in?
Well, I think that's a bridge on every position, personally. I think linebacker, is more associated with special teams just historically. But I think, great football teams, the best players are very good special teams players too. So I think that's an emphasis throughout our team, is that if you can help us on special teams, no matter what position it is, with the exception of probably the quarterback, they're not going to be doing much on special teams, but everybody else is going to play a role.
Just mentioned Grant Taggy as a guy who's maybe down a little bit, but fighting for whether it's too deep travel roster type of thing, in part because of special teams. What did you sort of find in him when he got here, and what has he showed you so far?
Yeah, no, he's done a great job. He's really sharp, natural football player. He's the type that, in a pinch, if somebody breaks a shoelace, he can run back there and play safety and know all the calls. So he's a really good football player, was coached really well at Westside. So he came in and knowing how to play, and he's done a great job since he stepped on campus.
You said the return units are tough to play on. Why is that? What are the challenges there?
Which ones?
The return units you mentioned. Where it's
Kickoff return front line is the hardest job in football. I've done that, and when you got to block a guy who's running full speed at you from 40 yards, that's the hardest thing to do in football. Now, part of that, to be successful there, is you got to have some want to. You got to want to do it, number one. And then it's about coaching the technique and the detail that you believe in, too. So the fact that, I've done that job, Coach Frost has done that job at the highest level. So we got a little experience that we can, bank on to teach guys that. But that's a 1-2 job, right, first and foremost.
Who are some guys on the roster that really want to, that come to mind where you're like, yeah, those
better be everybody. That's a standard. I think it's non-negotiable. I think that's the point. You don't get to have just the 1-2 guys. The non-1-2 guys, we're making them be 1-2 guys. So it's a non-negotiable issue.
Did you kind of work toward in install for Illinois? I mean, how would you size up?
Let me give you the whole game plan right now.
I was going to ask about the camp as you're ending it. How would you size it up? I mean, did you feel like you kept the intensity you wanted on defense throughout?
Yeah.
Or was there any dips? Or?
Yeah, no, in all honesty, and one of the biggest emphasis, I think every year, but when you do transition from camp to a game opponent, a weak opponent, maintaining the intensity is a really important deal. Getting guys who are now running maybe some scout cards or look squads, they got to be able to mimic the same speed that we're seeing from our offense. So that's a big deal, is getting guys to keep the speed up, because sometimes all of a sudden you read a card and everything slows down, and that's the natural thing you got to fight when you start getting into game week.
You won't give away the game plan, I know, but what is a trick with dealing with the first opponent who has a new coach, but he's sort of you have background on?
That's really hard.
Yeah.
You know, you do as much research as you can, but at the end of the day, you don't know for certain what it's going to be. I think that's where you've got to really understand your own defense, your own offense, your own fundamentals, your own principles, because I was always taught to believe that, you know, your rules should adjust everything. And if you got a little tweak you got to make here and there, you make a tweak, but your rules should carry over. So I think it's been important that we've emphasized, hey man, we're going to see something new, and you can't blink when you do it. You got to know your own issues, and you got to solve some things on the fly.
Scott mentioned on Friday, I guess, that in a scrimmage he was frustrated with the number of penalties, and I don't know if that was offense, defense, but you've been around teams that are good in that department, maybe teams that aren't. Like, what are the hallmarks to a team that is good in the details? It can't be just as easy as saying we don't want to commit penalties.
Yeah, there's no doubt. To me, the easiest and the most simple answer is it's an everyday habit that you form. You're either working those bad habits every day or you're working the good habits every day. And to me, if a guy gets sloppy in his hands in a team mix practice, he's going to get sloppy in his hands in a scrimmage, and that's going to be in a game day too. So you just have to really be hard on the details, on the day-to-day details, because when you let little things slide, that's when they show up. And players, I think they got to be very conscious of it. They got to be aware of it. They got to be conscious of it, because what you do on a daily basis, that's what you're going to be on game day.